new everything, electrical. And then you go to this meeting, and I mean, when you leave, you feel so defeated, you know. Like, let me give you some, for instances, on some of the things that they said. And in there, I put all the members of this committee and their rules, and also the building that I'm talking about. I did before and after pictures. So in this meeting, I had originally sold this building to Jason Jones several years back. Well, this same committee let him paint the awning. If you look above the awning, it's painted gray, which is brick. And the person that went in for signage. They could only approve the signage for her window. And then she wanted also, I don't know the specific name, it's in their rules, but it's the drop down sign under your awning, kind of like Kate Bennett has around the corner. So they approved those two. They would not approve the sign that goes on the building on that gray section. And that is individual letters. And let me just tell you several of the businesses that have individual letters that I just kind of drove by and saw. Vera Bank, the library, Kangerga and Brothers, Western Auto, Allstate. So they quizzed her on, they couldn't imagine how she would even try to put those letters up. Well, probably like all these other people did, because she's hired Stephen Strong. Yeah, he's done all her lettering. So then they argued with her that that was stucco up there. She said, no, sir, it's brick. He said, no, it's stucco. She invited them to walk down there, but they decided not to. So that is brick that was already decided from the previous owner. They let him paint it gray. They were upset because she painted part of her brick white. That is the only brick on her building right there. And what she's trying to do is distinguish it from, originally this was one building divided into 3 buildings. She bought 2 of the buildings, has completed one building, and is ready to start the second business. It's a different business. So some other things that they did in the meeting, she had to fill out this full application, and she did, and turned it into Laura Wilkerson with pictures of everything that they asked for. They did not review it. They specifically said, did you get permission from the owner to paint the building? Well, she is the owner of the building. They also said that one of the members said you needed to either acid wash it off or high pressure wash it off. And that is specifically in their notes that you cannot do that to brick. And let me tell you that this is not original brick. I understand what they're trying to do with the city. We don't want pink, purple, and orange buildings. But to treat someone like that when they go in, here's what they've done. They've tabled her signage. And by the signage, I'm talking about the individual letters that will go on top. They tabled that because they told her, you have to come back as a citizen and tell us what your painter can do about that. Because we can, let me give you what exactly was said, because it was recorded. Come back to us and let us know. Because if you are applying for funding for a sign and this is not a threat, I don't know why you didn't say that in the meeting. We could not approve your signage to get reimbursed from the Main Street. Well, number one, the paint is white. Caldwell Banker is white. Rayford Florist is half white. I mean, it's white. There are major things in this town that are, you know, more bold than white. And it's that little small piece of brick that you see in that picture right there. So nowhere in the rules does it say you have to do this before we approve this. And I just think, I mean, my recommendation for this committee is that we get some new people that are gracious and thankful that we are bringing businesses into downtown, because I think they've forgotten that they do pay taxes. You know, And you put all these thousands of dollars in this building, and then you go to these meetings, and they're so hard to work with, you know? And I'm vested in downtown also, you know, I own my own building. So maybe a person that's vested in downtown could be on that committee. I mean, and their rules are just recommendations. You know, it's not law. I mean, they're acting like they police the whole downtown, like, well, we're not gonna do this if you don't do this. I think they're upset because she didn't go to them first to paint that white. So therefore, if she doesn't take it off, they're not going to approve her signage to be reimbursed by Main Street. And I thought that was just a Main Street issue because that's what I was told when I moved in. I mean, because I think you have to be here like 3 months and then you can go before Main Street. She's turned in all of her pictures to Laura Wilkerson and them. And I just think selling people buildings downtown and then they have to go to this, it's a hindrance for a real estate agent to do that because then your customers come back to you and go, what is going on? You know, so that's kind of what I'm here for, is if we could maybe revamp some of the people that are on it, or if there could be an attitude adjustment on this is why we're here, you know, stuff like that. Just a little bit more gracious and thankful for all these businesses coming in, because she does have another business that she's got to redo another building right next to her. So that's kind of my issue on selling buildings downtown with this committee. So, and I think Coach Pace is my representative. So I put my business card in there if you want to email me or call me or whatever you want to do. I think it's a real fine line right there. I think you start my block because I think, Melissa, you're on the other side of the block, but I think Coach Pace is my person, so. Okay. Any questions on those in the folder?
Oh, which building is this?
Okay, this is, do you know Andy Mills, then Joe Shoemate, then it's right there. It's right before you get to the big Allstate building and Galen Rain's uppercut.
Okay.
It's in that block right there.
Okay.
And I really suggest if y'all haven't been down to see it, it's total transformation on the inside and outside. It's really nice. They've done a great job.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Trey has something.
Good afternoon. I'd like to talk to y'all about my run-in with the city water department.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the last guy on the city line. I'm right outside the city limits, but I still get city water. And there's an old pump station right there that y'all used to have a water tower. The city line comes out of the ground, does a little circle, and then goes back into the ground. And for as long as I can remember, that room's never been heated, cooled, or anything like that. Well, one of the valves in there cracked, and it was like a fire hydrant going crazy. Called the city water department on Tuesday. They came out very quick. They shut off the water, and they didn't realize that they actually shut me off too. Wednesday, I called them, and they gave me the time of day. These guys went above and beyond. I'm not here to complain about them. I'm here to give them praise, because those dudes turned my water back on Friday and fixed the problem that we had. So those guys were run thin by the time they got to me, but they actually made me feel like I was getting heard. They helped me out, and I know that I would not have got that in Dallas or Houston or Austin. So I just, as a citizen, like to come and give them praise. Hope that y'all know who y'all got there, because we've got a good crew. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Trey. That's great. Thank you, Trey. Anyone else?
I don't think that's,
Okay.
I'm on consent agenda.
I know,
Yeah.
you're on the agenda.
I don't know.
You come up here.
No.
All right, so I'm gonna have to tag on to Trey here a little bit. You know, we had a major problem. We had a polar vortex that was very, very unusual for East Texas. This is not what Henderson normally ever gets. No one expected us to go down to below zero. And I didn't count these calls, but I probably got 12 phone calls about water, spraying out in the yard and stuff like that. And 4 of those people called me back within 10 minutes and their water had already been shut off. That's how quick. Now, they must have had people out on the road right then near these water lakes because they really took care of the job very quickly. And I realized that, you know, this is being reactive, but you know, you never know whose water's gonna spray, you know, once it starts to thaw. And we really had some very, very good service and good response. And I was unaware of Trey's thing here, but police, you know, we had to call the police several times because that's where we reported these outages, through the police line. No problems. They transferred it instantly. That's how we got the folks out there. They did a wonderful job. Fire, naturally, the fire guys were busy the whole time doing things that they do, and our EMS over here were busy, let me assure you. My power went off at my house for 20 minutes just during a regular cycle process that AEP did, and that was all. 20 minutes is all I lost power in my home. And so I was very proud of that. No other brownouts did we have due to the AEP cycling. Now, you may have some brownouts due to some sort of other outage or something, or electricity could have been completely off, but that's the only brownout that I know of that the city of Henderson had. And of course, as you well know, our ERCOT friends here next door toward Tyler, you know, they had several, and some of those brownouts lasted for 3 days. So we're not, you know, nothing we can do about that, but our AEP SWEPCO guys, our gas guys, our, you know, natural gas guys, fantastic. So we had we had a rough time, but we had a real easy time. This could have been bad. It could have been real bad, but it was not. It was just an inconvenience. I know that Melissa at the hospital, I guess y'all have a generator in case your electricity went out. So you never probably knew it if you were up there working.
Well, I was in a different building anyways.
Okay.
But I had
Okay.
power the whole time,
That's good. That's good. So it's not.
and water, so.
But it, just one of those things. You know, hopefully we'll never see this again.
I hope not. I hope not. And I'll just piggyback real quick on that from my position with our water. You know, we've seen a lot of people around the state of Texas, and a lot around us in East Texas, cities lose water, lose completely, run out of water, go to boil notices, a lot of different things. And the city of Henderson's water utility did not do any of that. And these guys work around the clock, went off a 24-hour call stuff yesterday, finally went back to some normal shift as of yesterday. They've been working around the clock 24/7, spending the night out at the water plant. I'm gonna tell on you, Randy. Spending the night out at the water plant, wastewater plant. Some of these guys are spending nights in trucks. That's why they get to the places to turn off this water so quick when things happen. Above and beyond.
Yeah.
So kudos, Randy, to you and your staff, your team. We got some more stuff coming for you. Tell your team to get ready for that. We're gonna take care of it. So we appreciate that. Plenty of calls that I received, just like Trey's, and
Mine,
like hearing those. I like hearing those type of stuff. So it's just good to be a part of the city of Henderson and have people like that on our team. So kudos to you, Randy, and your group. I know you didn't want me to do that, but
My crew, they really did step up like they did on that there. Awesome crew. Public services, we had to call them in for additional help. They showed up instantly as well. So it was a big team effort. So.
I will say our partnership back with the county and the commissioners court, all the commissioners worked extremely well. Our contact back over at TxDOT and how they got on the roadways coming in and out of Henderson. They did an extremely good job communicating with us here locally. They were apologetic that they did not get into town and do some of the stuff downtown areas as quickly as they wanted to, because they were out doing some of the major arteries coming into town. And I said, no, that's what you're supposed to do, because we need gas. We need groceries, we need freight moving. And so when Houston opened up there, the floodgates opened literally with traffic coming in through town, coming up to I-20. And so that was their focus. And so they did a great job there, but as soon as they could, they hit all of our areas that come into town and through downtown as well. And so, proud of those guys and what they did for our relationships with all the different entities across the board, the county getting out to help with state highways as well with their maintainers. And then, just overall, all entities work very well together. So just kudos to county and to the TxDOT. We appreciate their help and all of our staff. My hat's off to them. So.
Okay, anyone else? I have a little order of business here, council business. Cheryl has had a problem just a little bit with these barricades up, seeing who's voting how and when they vote. So you got a flag in front of you, council. Well, this flag will go in your right hand. So when I say or ask you to please, time to vote, need a motion, and we'll vote with the flag above this thing, so Cheryl can see exactly who's voting and when. Okay?
Melissa might have to stand up.
No, she's got it.
It was bad, it was bad.
You got a flag, everybody's got a flag, right? Okay, real simple, real simple. It's a good time to wave a flag. So, anyway, I thought I'd pass that on, so give Tommy's back to him. I can't vote, so I'll give my flag up. So, okay, so with nothing else coming forward, I'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature and may be acted upon in one motion. Any item requiring additional discussion may be withdrawn from the consent agenda by the mayor, a council member, city manager, and acted upon separately. Okay? Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda? All in favor, please raise your flag and hold it up. Okay? All opposed, like sign. No flags. Sure. Okay. Now we'll move to council business regular session. Item number 7, consideration and possible action upon an amendment to the interlocal agreement between HEDCO and the city of Henderson regarding employee matters. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if John's on or not, but
He is.
if he is, that's great. If we want to promote him up, he can speak, but ultimately, this is just the same interlocal agreement in which the employee, like for the director, John Clary, the city, we have it classified as a city employee, so there's the benefits and all that comes into play, and they reimburse us for that. So that's all this is an amendment. As they get ready to hire another person, they just want to make sure they can do the same thing that they're doing with Mr. Clary, where they can have them add benefits, and then they continue to reimburse the city back like they have. But ultimately, that's the change and the reason for the amendment, right? Okay.
Any questions on that? Okay, if not, do I hear a motion? Okay, all in favor, please raise your flag. All opposed, like sign. Okay, all right.
No, we didn't get a second.
We didn't get a second. I thought I heard a second.
Yeah,
There's
I heard a
one
second, yeah.
Pick somebody.
okay.
Take a flag.
She didn't raise her flag high
I didn't.
enough. No problem. Okay. Item number 7 stands for. Item number 8 is consideration and possible action upon creating a floating full-time firefighter position. Okay, Chief Show.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Even the mayor's probably the only one that remembers us doing this probably 15, 16 years ago.
We sure do.
spoke to most of you about this individually, but, about last April, May, we had one of our full-time firefighters using Air Force Reserves. They have to go to school, he's on bomb tech school. And it's been postponed and he's had to take breaks. COVID's just kept extending it. Well, hopefully he's coming back April or May. It's Travis Baldwin. So we'll have a bomb tech over there that I guess Chad might call on. And, but anyway, when Travis left, we were able to hire a temporary full-time position. And the person we hired was a local guy and young man, very upstanding. And he's been working full-time knowing that when Travis comes back, his job is gonna be eliminated. Well, in between all that, COVID done really hit us. And y'all can see some of the overtime on a spreadsheet. And we've added some more to that with that last week. But last year on our actual overtime is what we pay when someone is off or on vacation, off sick or whatever. And we're down to 5 firefighters at our minimum staffing. And then when somebody else gets sick or something happens, we have to call somebody in. Well, last year we spent $46,800 on it for the total year. This year with COVID, with people being out with COVID or family member being out with COVID and being quarantined, we've already spent $42,000 basically this year, and that's not counting this past week. So we've already, this first quarter, nearly matched what we did last year. So what I'm proposing is to, when Travis comes back full time, is to move our temporary position to a floating position, full time, permanent for the time being, and let him cover these shifts that we know ahead of time. When somebody schedules vacation, of course, firefighters, they have to schedule months ahead of time. We go ahead and put him in a slot that we know we're going to be short. He's not going to be able to cover all of them, but he'll cover a lot of them. So he'll be bouncing around different shifts, but he'll be working the same amount of hours as other firefighters on shift. He won't be working any more hours. There'll be spots he won't be able to cover, for sure. In that total package for a firefighter with total benefits is $62,000. So we're about $20,000 off of what we spent the first quarter and what this position would cost us. So that's what I would like to do. And then once we get this big bad thing out of our way, hopefully one day COVID, and if one of our guys retires or leaves, then we may eliminate this position and just move him into the rotation. Any questions?
I make a motion that we approve creating a floating full-time firefighter position.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Please raise your flag if you're in favor. Okay. Like sign opposed. Okay. Item number 8 stands approved. Council Rusty.
Very patriotic, yeah.
Very, I know it is. I like it. Item number 9 on the agenda is consideration and possible action upon the second reading of ordinance 2021-01-01, changing the time of the regular scheduled council meetings from 6 p.m. until 10 a.m. each month. Okay?
Mayor, if I might real quick.
Yeah.
The last meeting, we brought this up the first time and we had some discussion about it and you know, ultimately, this is something we want to feel comfortable about across the board. And there's a lot, you know, we know it doesn't matter what time we put a council meeting, you're going to be in conflict when somebody's schedule can be here or whatever. However, we don't want it to ever be pushed out one way or the other, that it's only going to be for staff's recommendation or ease of what we do. And so it works fine with where it's at. We thought maybe it was something to think about for sure, because we've moved some and had some special meetings some different times. But with that being said, just with it being a little bit uneasy with us, everybody feeling comfortable, 100% comfortable, my recommendation is just leave it where it is. And just drop this agenda item and let's just keep moving and that's it, and keep it at 6 o'clock and keep kicking like we've been doing. That's just my 2 cents on that. So I would say I recommend that you drop it and you can entertain a motion to drop if you like, Mayor.
Make a motion. Yeah.
Second.
All right, all in favor to just drop this item, please vote with your flag. Okay, all right. Well, then we'll have to go the other routes. Item number 9 is dropped at this time. As we call it in Robert's rules, it will be stricken from the agenda. All right, let's move to item number 10. Consideration and possible action upon resolution 2021-02-01 on amendment number 1 of the 2020-2021 budget. Karen, what you got this?
Okay, this is the time of year when we look at our previous year's budget, which was 2019-2020. Look at the items that maybe we ordered, but we have not received yet, some equipment. My time up. Let's see. And so we're looking at like the equipment that we've ordered, we have not received yet, projects we've started but have not completed. So we're moving that money over to our 2020, 2021 budget because we hope to, complete those projects. And I know some of that equipment has been ordered and probably by now has been received, so that those line items won't be over budget for the 2020, 2021 budget. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Some of them are like our bigger, like our bond money, our street bond. We're finishing that up possibly this year. We may still have a little bit to roll over in even into the next year's budget, but the majority of it I think will be spent this year. And that particular bond, we've done like over 75 streets with that, or when we completed it. And then of course the east side sewer trunk main, we're still working on that. You probably see the pipes and stuff there along across there from Snowflake, getting that completed. And then just some other general construction, some parks and things like that were some projects that have been started but not yet completed. I know Kirk is excited to, keep on working on some of those park projects. If you have any specific questions, I would happy to answer them.
Any discussion? Karen, you okay with everything? Okay. Do we hear a motion?
Yep.
We amend the budget. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your flag to vote. All opposed, like sign.
Thank
Item
you.
number 10 stands approved. Thank you, Karen. All right, item number 11 on the budget is consideration and possible action upon resolution number 2021-02-02 on a grant for the police department to receive an interoperable communications repeater.
Mayor, council, this is going to be a grant that'll help not only the police department, but the fire department. This will be the fire department's main communication and the police department's secondary communication if our first repeater fails. This is matching funds for the project, but they have not actually had sat down and actually voted on how much they're going to actually give. So at the moment, I couldn't answer that question. But it is something that we'd match, and it's something that's needed. I believe it was last replaced in 2007, 2008.
2008.
So it's something that is needed.
So this is separate from the primary.
Yes, sir. This is not our primary. This will be fire primary, but it'll be our secondary.
So where would this repeater be located?
Joel Service.
Oh, Joe.
Quite sure if it's Jola or
The water tower? Water storage? Okay.
You have a ballpark idea how much funds?
less than 10,000 is our guess. We're figuring 6 to 7, but could be up to 10. We don't expect it to be any more than that.
As somebody who works on this stuff frequently, it's sorely needed.
Yes, sir.
Our repeater went out 6 months ago.
Mhm.
It was probably down for 2 weeks. We were using the person management channel because it's just,
So I realize it's in the city, but can the county bounce off of it also, or?
There's a grand plan in the works to
Okay.
where there will be a,
If my understanding is correct,
where we utilize it.
this repeater will be where we can upgrade,
Yes.
to where that is possible.
I was just, you know, kind
It has that capability for the future. Yes, sir.
of, okay,
I move we approve it.
all right.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your flag. Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 11. Stands approved. Okay, item number 12 is consideration and possible action denying resolution 2021-02-03 on a proposed rate increase for SWEPCO.
And this always sounds bad, especially when we're just praising SWEPCO.
Yeah.
What they've done. But ultimately with our membership or not membership, but affiliation back with CARD and the other cities around us, the best thing to always do is, you know, previous council action has been to use the CARD city's attorney and have them do the research here on any rate increase or related thing. Just get it back to the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, allow them to just get to the bottom of it and make sure that it makes sense for our citizens. You know, these rate increases come with, you know, 1,000 pages or whatever, but there were information that there's no way here locally we know what to do with one way or the other. So we do have an attorney and a firm that helps us run through that. And so by denying this, it automatically will go to the PUC and CARD they'll represent us and keep us posted on it. And then we'll bring back information to council as it is available.
So one more item concerning SWEPCO, and I think maybe y'all need to hear this. We have the lowest rates in the United States of America, right here in our SWEPCO platform. And you can check this out. I've done it several times, and we have the lowest rates, period. So that's a plus. However, we still have to go ahead and vote against this because of the fact that, like Jay said, we can't run all of these traps and try to figure out what's really going on here. So, do we hear a motion?
I got a question.
Sir?
I have a question.
Question?
Got a question.
Go ahead.
Looking at this deal, it says, city action required by the 15th. What?
Originally, it was supposed to be the 15th. Our meeting last week would be on the 16th.
Right.
So Cheryl had already called and we got the extension, and that's past a day as well. I don't know if he told you a date, but
He didn't give me a date, but he said.
we're still within the window of that because they gave us an extension after this was printed. So we're still okay with your action.
And we have leverage from the start with it, so.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to say that because I was on there. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I heard a motion in a second. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your flag. Thank you. Item number 12 stands approved. Item number 13 is time for departmental reports. I think all of you have the reports from the departments in your, wherever, in your folder or in your tablet. And I'm sure you've already read all of those. So, are there any questions?
I just want to ask that going forward that all the committees and boards that meet, that their minutes be included in the reports.
Okay.
Good idea. Good idea. Okay. Any other conversation about departmental reports? Okay. All right. It's 6:41, Cheryl. We will now move into executive session on item number 14. 6:40. Okay. All right, we'll be in there for a little bit. I didn't know he could operate that.
He didn't know there. It's the first time.
Hey, that's good.
I got a new job.
You see, we accommodate. We got a new operator.
There you go.
We accommodate.
Go there, Michael.
We'll now return back to our regular meeting here. Executive session is over. And we'll go back into regular session here at 7:07. Okay. We'll reconvene the regular session, take no action as a result of the closed session. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Please raise your flag. Okay. It's unanimous, so we are exiting the regular session at 7:08. Yeah, okay. I forgot what clock I was looking. 3 clocks up there. 7:08. All right, so immediately we will go into another meeting. This will be an emergency meeting, a special call meeting by the city here. I think we had to give 2 or 3 hours notice on this meeting. Is that correct, Cheryl?
Yeah, by law, yeah.
By law, yeah. City of Henderson, Texas, mayoral declaration of local state of disaster due to severe ice and snowstorm. And I'm assuming y'all have a copy of this in your packet, or you may not.
Emailed it to him, I didn't print it
Oh,
out,
emailed
but
it
we just
to
went
him.
out
Okay.
today.
Okay. Do I need to read it? Okay, it's just a formal declaration. That's all it is to it. So, and what we need to do is just approve it. And I'll sign it. Cheryl will put it wherever she puts it. And it'll be legal. It'll be all legal. Okay. Not the trash can. No. Not the filing can.
And that mayor is, the county's already done a disaster declaration.
County's done it.
The county's already done one. We feel like we'd be covered by it, but ultimately this will allow us to make sure that,
Just in case.
you know, if there's any funding available to us or anything comes down the pipe, if we need this disaster declaration in place, it's already approved and done. So that's the reason we're doing it.
Our surrounding cities have done it or are in the process of doing it. Yes, correct. So do I hear a motion to approve the declaration?
Move, we approve it.
Second. All in favor, please raise your flag. Okay, no opposed? It's a done deal. Okay. We're gonna close this meeting. Cheryl?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh,
Motion to adjourn, he said.
yeah, to adjourn. Okay. Yeah, she's already voted. Okay. Haven't even said it. Okay, it's all right. We'll adjourn from this meeting at 7:10. PM. Okay. We don't have to mess with it.
Hit the leave button there, chief. Thank you.